Well, hello. My name's Rick Wilson, Studio Bug. Glad to see you back. I've been getting a few more people added on to my subscription, so I appreciate that. And if you will, I also noticed that 88% of the people that watch these are not subscribed. So if you will, I'd appreciate it if you would. I don't know why. I don't get paid, but I'm just saying, you know. Anyway, I've come up with an idea. It's you might be from Selma if. I guess I stole that from, you might be a redneck if, but you might be from Selma if. I got things wrote down. I'm going to do them, 25 of them, each time I do one of these. And then I'm going to end it up with a story, Granny telling one. So anyway, my first one, you may be from Selma if you ever stood in line at the Wilby Theater with a can of food on a Saturday morning so that you can watch the Three Stooges. You ever done that? Mama used to let us off with a can of food and we'd go in there and they'd give it to the needy or whatever, and we'd watch Three Stooges all day. I guess it got us out of their hair. If you ever listened to the Beach Boys at Fire Acres, now I know you did that. If you're from Selma, you did that. Well, if you're from Selma about 30 years ago. Let's say, no, it's more than that, because I've lived here 40 years, so maybe 50 years ago. Oh, I'm getting so old. If you ever saw and laughed at the Band-Aid on the chicken's butt at the freezette. You remember that little Band-Aid that used to be on the chicken butt? Well, it was there. If you ever bought a watermelon from Pickering's, you know where I'm talking about on Highland? That's right, Pickering's used to sell them, right out front. If you ever bought a guitar from Z's, if you ever bought a guitar from Bendersky's, if you ever bought a guitar from Odie Chrisman, if you ever bought a guitar at Gibson Shopping Center, if you ever bought a guitar from Big John's Pawn Shop, you may be from Selma. And yes, I have, and yes, I did. If you ever played pinball with Zany Murphy at the Dairy Queen, or either while you was in there playing, he was in there. You remember that? I do. If you ever watched Bubba Boone walk down the street at any given time. Yep. If you ever hollered at Catburger, I hate that I did that, but I did do that. I understand he was a nice fellow. If you ever watched the French lady with God is my co-pilot on the basket of her bicycle, I never hollered at her, but anyway. If you ever saw that. If you ever bought groceries at Big Bear's grocery store. You remember where that was? That was over on Jeff Davis. If you ever bought fishing gear at Boutwell's. You remember Boutwell's? I love that store. I love Boutwell's. It was just a great store. When I went into the service, it wasn't there anymore. Came back, and not too long after that, they built that car wash thing. If you ever bought steaks at IGA, we certainly did that a lot, didn't we? If you ever hung out at the Toy Arcade with Mr. Sarah, you remember that, the Toy Arcade? It was big. It was a little bitty. It wasn't very wide at all, but it was real long and it's full of toys. I used to love to go in there. If you ever had your TV fixed at Twilly's, my grandmother did all the time. That's where we always believed that old black and white TV. We always took it to Twilly's. If you ever remember the Radio Shack when it was on Jeff Davis, you remember that? I do too. If you ever swung from the rope at Keenan's Mill and got run off with a shotgun, yes, I have, more than once. And you probably have too. If you're from Selma. If you ain't from Selma, you have no idea what I'm talking about. If you ever went fishing at the Keenan Pond and read up there on her front porch a big sign that said, you can probably tell better than I do, it said, if you, litterers will be shot on sight. I never did litter at her house. I ain't gonna lie to you. Never did catch much fish either, but you know, what do you do? Let's see. Went to the Selma drive-in. Went to the Selma drive-in in someone's trunk. Yes, I did. I wrote a song about it. I did my brother's trunk. Let's see. Went to the 80 drive-in to watch B-rated movies. Drove by the 80 drive-in on Highway 14 when the bright lights were on, so you couldn't see the X-rated movies. You remember that? I think our preacher, I went to Elkdale, and our preacher had a fit over that, and he finally got that stuff cut out. Dr. Fagan, I think was his name. Ever participated in the Selma raft race? Yes, I did. Almost drowned? Yes, I did. Watched the film Break at the Wilby Theater. If you're from Selma, Alabama, you absolutely went to the Wilby Theater and watched B-rated movies, and the film broke just about every time. And you remember that as well as I do. And the last one, you went to the band camp at Camp Griss. Yes, I did. And you remember that? That was fun. We used to love that. Okay, if you live in Selma, Alabama, you remember some of them. I've got 50 more. I'm going to do 25 next time, 25 next time. If I'm wrong in any of them, write it down in the comments section. Okay? And if you're liking this, make sure you hit the bell when you know that I let some of them go. Okay, I'm going to set up the next thing. It's going to be Granny. When she was young, her dad died at a young age, and they ended up having, I think she had four siblings. And her mama, got remarried to Mr. Cason. Mr. Cason was not a nice man. He did not treat any of them good, and he didn't treat Ma very well. He was very abusive. Now this was way back in the middle of the Depression, and he would have probably gone to jail these days, but it wasn't like that back then. It just didn't. Anyway, they stayed married for quite a long time. He ended up dying too, I think. But there's some funny stories that Granny told about him, and like, you know how Granny and as I've been telling you about these stories before, you know, they were a mess. So that's probably had a lot to do with him being mad all the time. But anyway, this is about Mr. Cason at one of his drunkard stoops, and here we go.
One time he got drunk, and he come home drunk, and he bought 2 pounds of butter. And this old man told him it was yellow butter. And when he got home, it was white butter. And he was mad, and he ate a whole pound. He vomited a slop jar full of butter.
But God, want to come out here?
Huh?
Did he make his stomach run off like that?
It made him sick. He was already full of whiskey. So me and Willie and Herman and his sister, we was across the hall through a big room into a little room sitting by a heater. And Mo and him was across the hall on a big room where they had one bed and had the dining room table in there and cooked in a little kitchen. Well, he's a cussing and beating her. He was mad because that was white butter. He was cussing, Mo was singing and washing dishes. Wouldn't pay him no mind. He got mad and he choked her. And I heard, gosh, dog, I had the baby. I had a sister. And they had you'd have to pull a little string. Have you ever seen one of them latches?
Mm-hmm. String goes up, no, pulls the latch on the other side of the door.
Uh-huh. You could pull it and it'd unlatch. Let it back down and latch. Well, I couldn't see that in the dark. I had that baby, I turned my back to it and I run at that door and I busted the latch off. He slapped me down, baby and all. But he turned on loose. And he run on in there. And Buddy, Buddy heard him. He said, Willie, you coming? Buddy went under the bench and Herman and Willie rolled over to the back side. He come down, he drug Willie out. He said, where in the hell the rest of them? Willie said, I don't know. And he gave him a lick or two before Willie had done that. And he left, went back in there to fuss at most more. And Buddy stuck his head out and said, where'd you go? He said he'd gone down. They come crawling down from the bed.
Did you ever find out they went under the bed?
No,
You could let it
we
go.
didn't tell on one of them.
I know, but it's when somebody had slipped it.
Oh, well, then one time his raging came, he was gonna kill himself. Didn't know care nothing about him. Didn't nobody care nothing about him. And he was gonna kill himself. So he got Buddy's gun, he went off down the woods. Willie Moan just a squalling going on. Buddy, he was dancing, he hoped he was. Me too. So he wouldn't let him go with him. So he went on down there and his gun went off, you know, and he scared the birds in the woods, they were flying. And Mom went and Willie was around him down there and we all went, you know, but he was dancing along the trail. Oh, he was so happy. He thought maybe he had killed himself. And got down there and Mo grabbed the gun he was laying across. Throwed it over the bushes. Buddy said, Ma, I think that's my gun. Said, don't ruin it if he did kill himself. So I got there. I said, well, I'll just examine him. So I got on my knees and I laid my head over his chest, you know. I said, he ain't no more dead than I am. I raised up, he come raising up, and we all went back to the house.
He didn't beat you? It's hard he hadn't beat him, saying about him. He's not dead.
Alrighty, if you made it this far, thank you very much. Make sure you hit subscribe. Man, that was just a whole different time back then when people lived. Of course, I worked with Safety Net, which works with kids in a bad way as well. And don't think that all that stuff just happened back then. It doesn't happen now. It does. And there are people like that, and there's no reason for anybody to be abusive. There's just no reason for it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that story, and I will see you next time. Oh, wait, before you go, you be sweet. Why? Because I know where you live. And I'll see you again next time. Later.
Thank you.